Hello, everyone. I think we're live. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day and thank you for joining us. My name is Marta. I'm part of Salford Uni's environmental sustainability team. Today I'm here to tell you about our Plastic-Free University of Salford campaign and the work that we're doing to eliminate avoidable single-use plastics from our university. Before I tell you about the campaign and introduce our guests today, I would like to invite you to also take part in this live stream with us. Community is a really big part of what we're doing, and we also want to hear from you about your favorite plastic-free tips that you have tried and can recommend to others, and also what you want to try so that we know what we can facilitate for you on the campus. So as you can see in the corner of the screen, you've got the code for Menti. So if you go to menti.com and put in the code 90310805, you will be able to share with you with us your plastic-free top tip, as well as a plastic-free pledge for something that you would like to try. So please feel free to do that at any point during the live stream. Talking about Plastic-Free University of Salford, it's a campaign which we launched earlier this year. And it's a response to the growing problem of plastic pollution. As you probably know, it's a global threat to sustainability. Plastic waste affects our environment because it emits a lot of greenhouse gases, which contribute to climate change at every step of the way, so from production to disposal. And it's also quite resource intensive. Apart from that, it can harm our wildlife, our health, as well as 1 in 3 fish right now is found to have plastic inside, and it hurts our economy as it damages coastal tourism and affects the livelihood of people who work in the industry. So we really need to pick up the fight against it. And our goal in the campaign is to become a plastic-free community accredited by the marine conservation charity called Surfers Against Sewage. They do incredibly important work to protect wildlife, to clean our oceans and seas, and spread awareness of the action that we can practically take every day against plastic pollution. So today I'm really excited to say that we are joined by 2 guests from Surfers Against Sewage, Rachel and Quilly, who are working on the Plastic-Free Communities Initiative. Let me welcome Quilly and Rachel to the stream now. Hello, Quilly and Rachel. How are you doing?
Hi, fine, thank you, and thanks for having us today.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you do at Surfers Against Sewage?
So yeah, and then I'll hand over to Quilly. I'll give a very brief overview, but I'm Rachel and I head up the Plastic Free Communities campaign here. And Plastic Free, I don't want to steal too much of Quilly's thunder, but what we do is we are about tackling single-use plastic at source. So it's looking at throwaway plastic and how basically we can't beach, street, river, mountain clean our way out of the plastic pollution problem. What we've got to do is stop it at source. So that's what Plastic Free Communities is all about. It's a flagship Surfers Against Sewage campaign. It links into one of our 4 campaign actions, which is to eliminate plastic pollution from beaches by 2030. Alongside our other campaign focuses on water quality, ocean and climate emergency, and ocean recovery. So that's how it fits into Surfers Against Sewage's wider campaigns. And I'll let Quilly tell you a little bit more detail about what specifically Plastic Free Communities does.
Hi, I can see that. I think my camera froze, but I am in fact still here. Quilly, go on while I will try to deal with this technical glitch. Please don't
Thank you, Marta. At least you haven't frozen in too bad a position.
That's true.
Cool. So thank you so much for having us today. And thank you, Marta, for setting all of this up. It's really great to be here and to be talking to you all about plastic-free communities. So as Rachel and Marta have given a brief introduction of Surfers Against Sewage already, I won't dwell too much on that. But yeah, as they both said, we are a marine conservation charity working with communities to protect the oceans, waves, beaches, and marine life where we live. So SAS was founded in 1990 by a group of surfers in St Agnes who were just sick of getting sick from sewage pollution. So they took matters into their own hands and started campaigning against the sewage being spilled into the sea. So that was kind of the starting point of Surfers Against Sewage. And then fast forwarding to today, we've now got our 4 main areas of work. So we've got our water quality work, our ocean and climate work, ocean recovery work, and our plastic pollution campaigning. And that's where our Plastic Free Communities campaign that Rachel and I work on comes into Surfers Against Sewage. And so today we're going to focus on this Plastic Free Communities campaign, which Marta has joined and set up Plastic Free University of Salford. And we're really happy to have you on board with that. So I'm just going to share my screen, if that's all right, and just run you through the campaign. So fingers crossed, there's no technical glitches with this one. And all right. I'm assuming everyone can see that. Will you just shout out if it's not working? Plastic Free Communities. We are a community network tackling single-use plastic from beaches and green spaces all the way back to the brands and businesses who create it. And we work together with over 800 communities across the UK that are signed up, all working to tackle these single-use plastics from where they live. And I'm just going to start by showing you the initial video that we launched, it was then called Plastic Free Coastlines. I just want to share that initial video with you so that you can see where this all began. So Marta, if you don't mind playing that video for me, that would be amazing.
We live in a dangerous time. A new superpower is rising in the Pacific. A country 5 times larger than North Korea is amassing the greatest chemical threat ever known. Yet its aggressive expansion is being ignored. Governments refuse sanctions, and leading corporations continue to profit from it. The battle for the Pacific has already been lost. But this is just the start. Expanding its borders with the plastics we throw away, it threatens the entire planet. This is wasteland.
Thank you, Marta. Plastic Free Communities, Plastic Free Coastlines very quickly became Plastic Free Communities because, as we all know, plastic pollution isn't just a coastal problem. It's everywhere, from inland, coastal, high tide, high rise. It's in all of our communities and all of our day-to-day lives. So we changed it to Plastic Free Communities, but the essence of it is still the same. And the problem that we're tackling is that plastic pollution that's displayed in that video. So starting with these main offenders, these are kind of our everyday things that are everywhere. And, the numbers of these are just staggering. So today, for example, with plastic bottles, the first of our offenders, today alone, there'll be 38.5 million plastic bottles used in the UK alone. And so it's just crazy, the amount of plastic when you start thinking of all these individual items. And so these are kind of our starting point for the single-use plastics that we tackle. But so for the wider campaign, how does it work? What's involved, and what is it that Marta and her team are working towards to get University of Salford plastic free accredited? So we basically put together a 5-objective framework, and it breaks down plastic reduction locally into these 5 objectives. And within these objectives, there are tasks and focus points that you need to work towards as a community. And so I'm just going to give you an overview of the 5 objectives so that you can see what it is that the team are working towards. So starting with the first of these objectives is local governance. Now, in a community, this would be getting your council on board, but in a university, it morphs quite nicely into getting your governing body to pass this motion. So this, just backtrack a little bit, the objectives are based on like communities, but we do adapt them for universities. So that's why here it says councils, but actually it'll be your university governing body. And so what you need them to do is they'll need to pass this council motion that says that they will lead by example and remove single-use plastic items from their premises and operations, that the governing body will encourage plastic-free initiatives in the university, promoting campaigns and promoting and supporting plastic-free events, and that they will name a representative of that university governing body to sit on the Plastic-Free Community Steering Group and help support Marta and her team with making these decisions about plastic reduction within the university. So that's that first objective. And it's just so important to have that governing body on your side, as they're the ones that will ultimately make the big decisions about campus and what goes on and plastic reduction. And they've got that weight to really push plastic reduction within the campus and the campus actions. So the next objective is community actions and events, and this is kind of exactly what it says on the tin. It's holding actions, holding events that really raise awareness for the plastic reduction campaign on your campus. And so we've got a few examples here. You can run community clean, you can run beach cleans, community cleans. These can be, they don't have to be on the campus, but they need to be within the university and invite the students and the members of the university. You can do fundraising events, festivals, mini festivals, fairs and stalls, workshops, talks, kind of anything goes really, as long as you're raising awareness for plastic reduction within your university campus. So then the third of the objectives is community allies, and this one is about reaching out into the wider reaches of the community, the campus community, and engaging with all the different groups, spaces, communications, events, other things that are going on the campus, and trying to bring all of those involved. And so I think the best kind of starting point for university would be to think about societies that you can engage. So a lot of universities will have different societies set up. So that would probably be the best starting point for this. But yeah, as I said before, this objective is all about kind of getting everyone, all of the different organizations in your campus involved with the campaign. That's just a little message from a school that we had. They got on board with their local plastic-free community, and that's them just shouting about it. And then the next objective is your business champions. And so this objective is about getting your local businesses to reduce their plastic consumption. It's your campus cafe, the campus catering service, and any other businesses that are involved with the campus. And the way this one works is they'll need to eliminate at least 3 single-use plastic items from their business functions. And again, you can look back at the original offenders that I first put up, and they're a really good starting point. But also you can go into things like suppliers and deliveries within those businesses, and just talk about how the businesses on campus can remove and reduce their single-use plastic. And then the fifth and final objective is your steering group. And this is it's just so important to build a really core team of movers and shakers, which it's clear that Marta is already doing. But that's kind of, it's not a one-man job, this. It's really important that everyone's behind really pushing the campaign forwards, and getting these movers and shakers together regularly to meet up and kind of plan everything to do with the plastic-free community, plan the actions and events, discuss how to engage with the campus businesses, talk to the university governing body, and really get the ball rolling with this. So the support network behind Marta as the community lead is really vital to getting this through the accreditation process. And then, just finally, it's really important to keep it fun and keep it engaging and have fun with all those actions and events, and engage really proactively and positively with it. And that's kind of the 5 objectives. You don't have to do them in any particular order. It's just those 5 kind of pillars that we need you to work on towards this accreditation. And then finally, just to never forget your individual actions. Change starts with you in your day-to-day life. And so just start by thinking about what you can change, whether the plastics that you use are necessary, and how you can maybe make some swaps to, maybe bring your own refillable water bottle, for example, or take your own cup to the cafe when you go for coffee. But yeah, so just here are some initial suggestions to get those actions started. And if you want to find out a little bit more about plastic-free communities, then head to our website, which is www.plasticfree.org.uk, or the main Surfers Against Sewage website, which is there as well. And then, yeah, you can get in touch with us on plastic-free communities at sas.org.uk. But yeah, and then just finally, before I stop sharing my screen, or actually I might stop sharing my screen now. Just finally, a massive thank you to Marta for setting this all up. And, all the support that she can get will be really, really helpful to her towards getting University of Salford accredited as a plastic-free community. But yeah, thank you, Marta, and well done for everything that you've done so far. I think you're muted, Marta.
That's a classic rookie mistake. Thank you very much, Quilly, for your presentation. That was very, very informative, and it's this support from you is also really important for us, and also to understand the bigger picture behind sort of what we're doing. I think we should maybe go into some questions. If anyone has questions for Quilly and Rachel, you can either leave them in the YouTube comments under the live stream, or you can also use the Mentimeter. So let me just bring back the Mentimeter details just in the corner of the screen, and please feel free to use it to ask questions. And I will actually get us started and ask a bit of a practical question. As a university, we are a particular type of community in terms of our time frames. Our students usually stay with us from anywhere from 1 to 4 years, and then they move on and use that knowledge somewhere else. So I was wondering, usually, how long does it take for a community to become a plastic-free community accredited?
So there actually isn't a time limit on this campaign and on getting the objectives ticked off. It's sometimes some communities get accreditation within a year. It's quite a lot to ask that, and others take a little bit longer. But I guess with a university, you've got that annual rolling kind of in and out of students. So I guess it's just important to have a really cool group set up, and then you can hand it over to the next year of students. But yeah, we understand that it's voluntary, and that you're leading this campaign in your spare time, if you like. And so we're not going to put too much pressure on time wise. But yeah, I mean, as long as it takes.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of dedicated students and staff, which I will tell you all about a bit later. But we also have some comments and some questions in the chat. So we have a question from Beck. Great presentation. Thanks, Quilly, and thanks for creating a great framework for action. What is your opinion on using biodegradable or compostable alternatives to single-use plastics?
Sorry, my light went off. Thanks, Beck. That's a really good question, and something that I think there's a lot of confusion around in the area of biodegradables and compostables. And I think just really important with these to do your research on the specific items, because it's difficult to say without getting my words muddled, but some of these items aren't exactly what they say on the packet. And for example, biodegradable compostable items often only biodegrade and compost under really specific conditions. And often these conditions aren't there in the natural, don't occur naturally in the environment. So if these items end up in the natural environment, very often they won't biodegrade or compost as they perhaps were meant to do. And on this note, there's not necessarily the infrastructure in place to collect these items and to, put them into the right processing plants that will make sure that they biodegrade or compost as they were intended. So those are kind of the two main things to be aware of, is that if the collection facilities are in place and they'll end up in like the right end of life process, then they're kind of better. But the other thing to remember is that if they do get into conventional recycling, then they can contaminate it and they're actually not recyclable. So it's difficult to gauge, but I think it's just really important to do your research on that and, really drill down on what the specific items that you're going to use are.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very valuable tip to avoid the so-called wishful recycling, where you're throwing something in when you're not sure if it's recyclable, and it can actually contaminate the whole load. So yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you so much. And we have another question from Andy for Quilly and Rachel. Are you working with any pro surfers? I'm sure they'd be really keen to help. Could be a good partnership with Athlete Climate Academy.
I'm going to let Rachel take this one.
Yeah, I mean, we've got lots of pro surfers who support Surfers Against Sewage throughout the years. Kelly Slater is one that comes to my mind that I know that he supported us. I know Jack Johnson as well is a massive supporter of Surfers Against Sewage. We are, even though we're a UK charity, we do have global appeal. And yeah, actually flagging up the Athlete Climate Academy is really good. So yeah, while these kind of surfers won't always be really prominent in the work that we're doing and the comms that we're doing, we've definitely got their support, and it's it's a good heads up to kind of contact the Athlete Climate Academy. So I will feed that back if we're not already. We're kind of out on the ground dealing with volunteers, so we don't always know the intricate workings of our kind of wider SAS team and who they're working with in partnerships, but we'll definitely flag it. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you, Andy, for your question. While we're just waiting for any other questions, I wanted to ask you something about the plastic-free communities itself. Plastic-free sounds like a quite a big undertaking, and I was wondering whether to become a plastic-free community, do you need to get rid of all of your plastics, or is it basically the effort that counts to get rid of the ones that we can avoid?
So yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's just we're not trying to ask you to get rid of all plastic. Some plastic is actually really useful, and some plastic is really essential, especially if you look at kind of the medical industry, for example. There's like some essential plastics in there. But yeah, so we're setting the ground rules and trying to get rid of those non-essential, avoidable plastics that are everywhere. So that slide with the offenders on, the plastic bottles, the plastic cups, the stirrers, the unnecessary plastics in our bathrooms, for example. And it's just trying to get the ball rolling on those individual actions and really reduce those avoidable ones that are kind of there for convenience that we don't necessarily need to use in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. That makes it sound more sort of manageable. And like you said, the individual actions count, and that's what we're trying to sort of pull together here at the university. I think we have some more questions. How many communities have you joined across the UK so far? Oh, very interesting question.
So we've got 840 communities signed up across the UK at the moment, and 135 of those are accredited.
Oh wow, that's quite a crowd. It's I think I saw a map before also about the different communities across the UK, and it is the movement is definitely growing, and I'm really glad that your work is becoming more acknowledged as well, because what you are doing is very impactful and amazing. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us today and setting sort of the context for while we're doing this, and for supporting us. So thank you very much, Quilly and Rachel, and I hope to see you at other events that we organize as well.
Thanks
so much for having us.
Thank you, Quilly and Rachel. Okay, so that was Quilly and Rachel in a very insightful talk and Q&A for us. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we are doing here at Salford. So in 2021, our university has committed to, as you know, eliminating the avoidable single-use plastics from our campuses. And in that, we joined other universities and colleges across Greater Manchester in support of the Plastic-Free GM Pledge, which is the first city region-wide plan to drive down avoidable single-use plastic use and disposal. And it's established as part of a wider transformation of our region into a more sustainable and climate resilient area. And in order to fulfill this commitment, that's why we launched Plastic Free University of Salford campaign. So now we are actually about to welcome our next guest, who is going to tell us more about the pledge itself in our region. So we will be joined by my colleague Beck Bennett, who is the head of sustainability at Salford. Hi. Hello, Beck. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you.
Thank you very much
today.
Yeah, yeah, I can see. How is it? It's weird to be
It's
back.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a nice day today, so yeah, it helps.
Yeah, great. Always, yeah. So, Beck, thank you for joining us. And you were there, you witnessed firsthand when the region actually announced this pledge and where it came into practice for the first time. Can you tell us a little bit more about the pledge itself, how it actually came into practice and how it was received by our community?
Yeah, sure. So the initial Plastic 3 GM campaign was launched in 2018 at the inaugural Green Summit organised by the Mayor of Manchester. And as you said, it was the first citywide region plan to eliminate single-use plastics across a city region. And that was followed at the 2019 Green Summit up with some direct commitments from Greater Manchester colleges and universities, and University of Salford were one of those. And the commitment was to work together towards a shared vision of eradicating avoidable single-use plastics from catering, labs and stationary use. And as I said, all universities in Manchester and education colleges is committed to that. And our original target date was 2022. So the commitment was about working collaboratively, about sharing data, insights, best practice, and what we wanted to do was create a blueprint to set out the journey towards a plastic-free campus. And the aim was looking at procurement frameworks, waste management, as well as creating research opportunities and raising awareness amongst our staff and students and suppliers and the wider community. Obviously, the pandemic came along shortly after that commitment, so it has delayed things somewhat. But it's really great to get back up to looking at this, implementing some actions, and using the Surfers Against Sewage framework. And when the commitment was originally discussed, it was very well received at the university. So there was much support for signing up to it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much for your insight on that, Beck. It's great to be part of this pledge, and thank you for letting us know about how it actually started in our region. Unfortunately, COVID did set us back a little bit, but we are now getting back on track, definitely, which I'm going to tell you about now. So thank you very much, Beck, for joining us. If anyone has any questions, Beck, you can share them again on Mentimeter or on YouTube. You can keep them coming. We'll come back to them later. And now I'm going to tell you more specifically about what we're doing as part of the Plastic Free University of Salford campaign. So just bear with me. Okay, hopefully now you can see my screen. So as mentioned by Quilly and Rachel, it's not about getting rid of all of the plastics, because that's simply not practicable. Firstly, because of lack of storage for all the plastic waste we've already got, and secondly, because we need to focus on action. And there are certain exceptions where we need plastics not only for convenience but also for safety and protection. So, for example, we need them for water and food safety during, for example, aid efforts and emergency emergency responses. We need them in labs to avoid cross-contamination. We need them in medicine. We need the disposable gloves, masks, and aprons just to ensure the safety of doctors and of patients. And also research has found that if we banned all plastic packaging everywhere, that could potentially lead to food waste and more emissions if there was no other infrastructure in place. So this is really quite a complex issue, and the best way to approach it is to identify the plastic which are avoidable and which we can actually safely reduce. So the core issue here is actually our use of plastic just for our convenience. So use of items such as Quilly mentioned, like plastic drinking straws, stirrers, disposable coffee cups, which they are used on average for 20 minutes and can take over 400 years to biodegrade, to degrade. So these are the plastics that we need to be focusing on. Our three main areas of focus are catering, stationery, and labs. That is part of the plastic-free GM pledge, and that is also where usually there are most single-use plastics in institutions. And although the road to plastic-free is challenging, there are already great things happening on campus. So over the last few months, we have spoken to a lot of teams across the university. We can see a lot of potential to eliminate single-use plastics, and most of all, we can see a lot of dedicated teams who want to work with us. And these are just some examples of what we have actually achieved so far. So one of the recent successes is with our main stationery supplier at the university called Banner UK, who have eliminated all of their plastic packaging. So there are no plastic fillers. There's no plastic tapes on their boxes, and also the boxes itself have at least 70% of recycled cardboard. They are really working towards sustainability. They have a whole range of sustainable products as well, and because of moving away from plastics in packaging, they have saved an equivalent of 17 square kilometers of a plastic filler per year. So just to give you an idea, that is roughly Peel Park times 100, the area of Peel Park times 100. So that is really, you can really see the work that they put in it. And they are with regular contact with our environmental sustainability team. Apart from that, there is loads of effort, for example, from our catering team at the Soul Food outlets. We are working with them to become more sustainable as well. The team from Soul Food were actually very keen to join us, but funnily enough, they can't because they are at the awards ceremony for Waste to Zero Awards, of which they are finalists, as they have been nationally recognized in their efforts to reduce waste at their outlets. So we are keeping our fingers crossed for them today. But what they have done at their outlets is they have eliminated a load of plastic items such as straws, stirrers, carrier bags, and foam containers as well. And they are now working on eliminating all cling film. And also there is a discount for using a reusable cap at their outlets at the moment. So unfortunately, COVID created a bit of a setback for them, but they are very quickly going back on track. So we are working closely with them as well. Apart from that, there are other teams which have been working with us. The art collection team have been working to reuse materials to reduce the amount of packaging that they need to buy. So for example, they have been reusing the fillers and bubble wrap from the things they receive from suppliers to package their own things that they need to move around campus instead of buying new boxes and fillers. We have been also speaking with the events teams. They actively consider the environmental impacts of especially plastic packaging at events, and they do what they can to avoid it. And we have also been invited to take part in their purchasing process next year. So hopefully we'll be able to make some good impact there. Apart from that, we can see a lot of work being done in the workshops, particularly in the makerspace. who have been actively engaging with their suppliers and speaking with them about reducing the amount of plastic packaging in their deliveries and looking for alternatives. And we have an incredibly keen library team as well, who are actively looking for alternatives to reduce plastic items and plastic packaging, and they have had quite a lot of success with that already. And of course, at the center, you can see students. Students have been very active in our steering group. Actually, the group was created around a year ago, firstly by a former University of Salford wildlife student, and students are a very important part of our group and, of course, of our community. They are the core of our community at the university, and that's why it's important for us to communicate with you, the students, but also for you to offer us insights so that we can help you reduce your plastic use and the amount of plastic that we are throwing away at the university. Well, sorry. So, in terms of how you can actually help us and how you can get involved, there are a lot of different ways, and we encourage everyone to approach us. So firstly, the easiest part is helping us actually spread the word. So you can do that by taking part in events like this, interacting with our social media posts, coming to our events. Over the next few months, we are planning to hold some plastic-free workshops, film screenings, litter picks, and hopefully river cleans. And now that we can actually meet with everyone on campus. And we have a very dedicated wildlife society on campus. So Quilly has mentioned working with societies. We will definitely be doing more things with the Wildlife Society going forward. If you have an idea for an event that you would like to host, or that you would like us to host, or if you would like to get some experience in creating social media content, please let us know, because we do have opportunities for that as well. You can, of course, also join our steering group if you would like to join the campaign directly. I am going to share all of the links afterwards on our social media. Our steering group will be the ones organizing the events and working directly with Surfers Against Sewage. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to join us, or you can ask me questions about it first if you prefer. Apart from that, work to actively reduce your consumption of single-use plastics. We will have a quick look on the Mentimeter at the end, just to give you a little bit of inspiration for what other people are doing. And Quilly has also given us some ideas already. Apart from that, if you're a member of staff or a member of a student society, please encourage your team to take part in our plastic audit. Plastic audit basically means that we're asking you what plastics you've got in your department and which ones you think we can help you eliminate or avoid. So whether you're a student or a staff member and you're part of a group that we could meet with to discuss this, please let us know on social media or via email, and we'll be more than happy to discuss it. We've had quite a lot of people approach us for this purpose, and we're incredibly grateful for this communication. Apart from that, please let us know if you're conducting any relevant research. So this can be research that we could help you share, but maybe we could also help you collect some data. Maybe you could share some data with us to better to inform our campaigns so that we can improve them. So maybe we can help each other. Please let us know if you're doing any research on single-use plastics. And lastly, please help us identify any avoidable single-use plastics that you can see on campus. Whether it's something that you've seen, whether it's something that you're using, please let us know about it, because we are a big institution. We might have missed it. So that's why, as I said before, we need the community support and insight. So these are all of the ways in which we can you can support us. Let me just stop sharing my screen. So thank you very much. We've also had a comment, some brilliant examples of actions to remove. Yeah, exactly. Our student union also led a lot of changes to reduce plastics, such as straws, and giving discounts for reusable caps. Yes, absolutely. The student union team and the catering team at Atmosphere have also been very supportive, and I'm hoping to work with them going forward as well to bring more awareness specifically to our community. if you just bear with me 1 second, we will take a look at the Mentimeter, because we have had some insights from our community members. Let me just get that up right now. I hope you can all see this. So first of all, we've got reusable coffee cups. Always have one in your bag. Yes, absolutely. I think the key here is to just remember to have these things with you, whether it's your reusable cutlery, whether it's a straw, or it's your plastic cup. Just get in the habit of always having them with you. Another pro tip is to use your own mug to avoid the extra charges. Yeah, so usually some cafes either have a charge for disposable cup, or you can get a discount for using a reusable cup. Either way, it always pays off to have one on you. So please remember about it. Refill, yes, absolutely. We have lots of refill stations for your water across the university, and in some of the outlets, I think you can also buy a reusable bottle. So afterwards on our Twitter and Instagram, I'm going to post more information about where you can actually find the refill posts on our campus. There is a pledge to review our stationery orders to remove single-use plastics. That is brilliant. Yes, stationery is a big area of single-use plastics, but it's also an area of lots of potential because there are a lot of swaps you can do. And going forward, we are planning to host some stationery amnesties where you will actually be able to swap the stationery that you don't need anymore or donate it. So that's a really good tip. Top tip: just grab takeaway lunch on campus with paper-based container and wooden cutlery. Yes, brilliant. As I mentioned, our soul food outlets have been working to remove all cutlery and containers from our campus, and they have swapped them for paper-based alternatives. So that is a big part of what they have done in the last few months. Use your own bottle on campus with lots of refill stations. Yes, exactly. And then buying loose fruit and vegetable produce to avoid plastic packaging, helping to have less food waste too, as I only buy what I need. Yes, more and more supermarkets at the moment are actually able to provide you with a mesh bag, which you can now buy, for example, at checkouts. So it's a very, very good idea to actually take advantage of that, and because then you can reuse that bag when you go shopping next time. So again, we're going back to this habit. Just create the habit to always have it with you. I think that is. Oh, sorry, no, we've got more. Tote bags, yes, absolutely. The tote bags are something that we've got on many of our events as freebies, and many students are saying that they are incredibly useful to carry things like books or even laptops. Plastic-free periods. Yes, at the University of Salford, we started working with Hey Girls UK, which is a social enterprise working to eradicate period poverty from the UK. And as part of that, during the last academic year, we were offering some reusable period products such as caps and pads, and we will be placing another order soon. So keep an eye on our social media because we will be giving them away for free so that you can give them a try if you would like to do that. Check out our local zero waste shop. There was one on campus. Yes, there is one on campus. I know that it was open in Allerton, and I think at the moment it's being transferred to the student shop on Broadwalk. So we will be providing more information on that as well in the coming weeks. I pledge not to buy any plastic bottles ever on campus. Yeah, as we established, thanks to the refill points, you don't actually need to. So that is definitely doable. And then let me see if we've got anything else. Pledge choose tap water rather than plastic water bottles in catering. Yeah, exactly. Another one about bottles. Let me see if we've got anything different. Yeah, I think that's it. I think these are some brilliant ideas here that you can take forward and use. And as I have mentioned before, if you have any other ideas that you would like to implement on campus, please let us know, and we will be able to work on them with you. That is everything from us at the moment. I hope that you found this useful and informative, and I will see you at the next event. So please follow us on social media. It's just Plastic Free UoS on Instagram and on Twitter. You can drop us a message if you would like to get involved, and you will be able to find more information, including my email address, on our social media. So thank you very much. Thank you very much once again to all of our guests from today, and I will see you next time. See you later.